Hey, groovy people, I'm John. I'm a retired math teacher. I taught math for 36 years. I taught Algebra 2 and pre-calculus and calculus, and I taught second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. This is a shout out to Ashley. Ashley wanted to go over the unit circle. It's a big unit, so I got to do this in two parts, you guys, because I'll bore you guys. For everybody else, this is free. I got your free math from second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, middle school, high school at this website right here. You can find that link in my bio, mrmathblog.com. They're uploaded on this platform, but they're in nice order here. But you can go there and subscribe. That would be super cool. And you'll see my videos. They're free, you guys. I have you just see across the top all the grades up there and click them, and then there's 1,600 different lessons in here. Okay, so here's the unit circle. So first of all, a circle is divided up into four quadrants: quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4, and our angles go counterclockwise. They go in this direction. So here's 0 degrees, here's 90 degrees, and most of you guys know that's a 90-degree angle. So if I keep going, you guys, this is going to be 180 degrees over there, okay? And then, so this is a 180-degree angle, and we'd represent it starting right here, and it goes in this direction, and we do an arrow where it ends right there. And then if I keep going, 180 plus 90 is 270. So let's get that one going right there. So there's my 270 right there. And then finally, when we keep going around, we get 360 degrees right there. So all the way around the circle is 360 degrees, okay? And since we're dealing with a unit circle, it just repeats itself inside of this circle. So if it said 720 degrees, a 720 degree angle would be 2 times around. It would be in the same spot as a 0 degrees. So that's why 0, 360, I could do 720. And so anyway, so it just keeps going and going. And so it all ends at the same spot on the unit circle. Okay, so in the unit circle, we want to know from the x-axis, this is the x-axis right here, this is the y-axis right here, but we want to know from the x-axis the angles off the x-axis that are 30 degrees, 45 degrees, and 60 degrees, okay? So if this is 180, 30 degrees backwards would be 150, 45 degrees backwards would be 135, and 60 degrees backwards would be 120. So that's the angle measures in quadrant 2. So I'm going to do that 30, 45, and 60 off the x-axis. So 30, 45, 60. So 30, 45, 60. So 30, 45, 60. And same over here. So 30, 45, 60. So it references off the x-axis right there. So you can see right there. So right here, 180 minus 30 is 150, 180 minus 45, 180 minus 60. Here's 180 plus 30. Here's 180 plus 45. Here's 180 plus 60. Here is 360 minus 30 is 330. 360 minus 45 is 315. 360 minus 60 is 300. Those are our important angles. There's other angles. There's like 22 degrees and 37.5 degrees. We're not interested in that. We're interested in these reference angles. They're called off the x-axis right there, okay? All right, so now when we talk about rate, that's in degrees, okay? So that's what we're talking about in degrees. Now in the unit circle, the radius is 1, or 1 unit, okay? So since the circumference that we call c is 2 pi r, then if the radius is 1, then 2 pi times 1 is just 2 pi. And we call them radians because the radius is 1 unit. That's why it's called the unit circle, okay? So in radians, we do the same thing. So all the way around the circle in radians is 2 pi, okay? So remember, we go counterclockwise. So all the way around the circle is 360 degrees, but in terms of radians, it is 2 pi radians. Look, there's my radius of 1 right there. Okay, so it's 2 pi radians. So if I went halfway around the circle, it would be 1 pi. I think that's what I did right here. Let's make sure. So, no, I did them all. Okay, so right on. So halfway around the circle is 1 pi. Half of a pi is pi over 2. And then if I add pi over 2 to pi, okay, this is 2 pi over 2 plus 1 pi over 2 gets me 3 pi over 2. So those are the axes points right there in terms of radians right there. Okay, what's I put down there? Okay, so pi radians, 1 pi radians over here is the same. I'll put my finger right there. This 1 pi radians is the same as 180 degrees. Okay, so if I did pi divided by 180 or 180 divided by pi, well, it's the same spot right there. So we're dividing by the same thing. So it equals 1. So when we're converting from radians to degrees or degrees to radians, then we're going to use that conversion right here, right here, right here. So I'll show you that, I think, in the second video, I think, you guys. So anyway, so here we go. Now I'm going to show you it right now. So right on, good. So 30 degrees, when I multiply it times 1, remember this equals 1 right here. Okay, so pi over 180 degrees or 180 degrees over pi equals 1 right there. So what I'm doing is I'm multiplying each of those reference angles, that 30, 45, and 60 degrees off the x-axis, I'm multiplying it by pi over 180. So here I can see 30 goes into 186 times. So I divided that and I get pi over 6 radians. The degrees cancel out and I'm in radians. So 45 degrees times 1, but my 1 is pi radians over 180 degrees. So 45 goes into 180 4 times. So I divided this into it once and into it 4 times. So 45 degrees converts to pi over 4 radians if I'm talking about radians. And then 60 degrees times 1, 60 goes into 183 times. So 60 degrees converts to pi over 3 radians. Okay, so I'm going to show you that unit circle again, Ashley, and then so this is my 30 degrees, which is pi over 6. This is my 45 degrees, which is pi over 4, and this is my 60 degrees, but these are in radians right here. So this is pi over 3 radians. Okay, so I'm going to, let me make sure before I talk ahead of myself right here. Oh goody. Okay, so let me show you. I'm going to do this in quadrant 2. Okay, now since this is pi, I'm going pi over 6, so these are pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3 away from the x-axis. Pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3 away from the x-axis. So in terms of pi over 6, this is 6 pi over 6. 6 pi over 6 minus pi over 6 is 5 pi over 6. In terms of pi over 4, this is 4 pi over 4. So 4 pi over 4 minus pi over 4 gets me 3 pi over 4. And this is pi over 3. So this is 3 pi over 3, which is pi. 3 pi over 3 minus pi over 3 gets me 2 pi over 3. So in quadrant 1, we have pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3. In quadrant 2 right here, we have 5 pi over 6, 3 pi over 4, and then 2 pi over 3. And I'll show you a nice way to memorize this stuff. So don't worry about that, you guys. So just remember, it goes pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, 6, 4, 3. 6, 4, 3. The denominators go 6, 4, 3. Now check this out. The denominators in quadrant 3 are going to go, the denominators are going to go 6, 4, 3. Same over here, 6, 4, 3. So let's do this right here, and we'll convert those. I'll show you how I'm converting those, and then I'll show you a nice way to memorize these. Okay. So since I'm going in this direction, I'm adding. So in terms of pi over 6, this is 6 pi over 6 plus pi over 6 is 7 pi over 6. pi over 4, so 4 pi over 4 plus pi over 4 is 5 pi over 4. This is pi over 3, so this is 3 pi over 3 plus pi over 3 is 4 pi over 3. Okay, all right. And then over here, we got to represent, we're going to think of this as 2 pi. So in terms of pi over 6, I'm thinking 12 pi over 6 is the same as 2 pi. So this is 2 pi. It's also 0, but all the way around is 2 pi. So so I'm thinking of, I'm going backwards. So 2 pi minus pi over 6. So 12 pi over I'm sorry, 12 pi over, sorry, brain freeze right there. So in terms of 2 pi, I'm thinking 12 pi over 6 is 2 pi. Dang, my fractions are getting kind of goofy, sorry, brain freeze. So 12 pi over 6 is 2 pi. So 12 pi over 6 minus 1 pi over 6 is 11 pi over 6. In terms of pi over 4 with 2 pi, this is 8 pi over 4 minus pi over 4 is 7 pi over 4. Pi over 3, this is 6 pi over 3 minus pi over 3 is 5 pi over 3. That's how we get those, and we're interested in 30, 45, 60, or pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, depending on if we're in degrees or radians. Here's how I memorize these guys in terms of radians. Okay, so remember, the denominators go 6, 4, 3, 6, 4, 3, 6, 4, 3. See, as we go away from the x-axis, the denominators go 6, 4, 3, 6, 4, 3, 6, 4, 3, 6, 4, 3, as we go away from this x-axis right here, okay? This is just pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3. This quadrant is 1 less than the denominator. So if this is pi over 6, and this is 1 less, so 5 pi over 6. This is pi over 4, so 3 pi over 4. This is 1 less, so 2 pi over 3. This is 1 more. So let's see, sorry, this is 7 pi over 6, 5 pi over 4, 4 pi over 3. Can you see that this is 1 more? This one's kind of harder to see, but this is 1 less than twice. So 1 less, so double that denominator, 1 less is that. Double that denominator, 1 less is that. Double that denominator, 1 less is that. These are all in radians, so these all have pi's attached with them right there. Okay, I think that's the end of part 1, and we'll do some of the math with this in part 2, so I'll see you a little bit.